Yeah, we basically ate 90 pounds total. So we each ate about 45 pounds of pizza in 7 days.
Wow.
So whenever anybody tells me they love pizza, I let them know that so that they can know that they don't love it that much.
Until you've eaten 45 pounds of pizza in a week, I'm telling
you. And I ate pizza again like 3 days later. You would think after eating that much you would need it again for a while. But
Welcome to the Unbroken Podcast with Chris Crosby. I'm not going to lie, I'm really amped about my guest today, Randy Santel. I've been a fan of your show for a while, your YouTube show, and I don't think I've missed an episode since I started watching it, I'd say about 5 or 6 months ago. So I'm a new listener, first-time caller kind of thing. But Randy, go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hey, Chris, happy to be on the show. Thanks for coming out here and having me on.
Yeah, it's I'm out at his house, and I'm way excited to get a chance to sit down and get to know you a little bit better and talk about a little bit what you do and things that you're passionate. Like you've inspired. One of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is because I saw you do your YouTube show. You just kind of did something that you enjoyed, you loved, and ran with it, and it turned into something. And so I'm honored to be here and talking to you.
Oh, well, no, great. I appreciate you coming out. Yeah, we're up to, obviously we started with nothing because you have to, a zero. But we're up to almost 176,000 subscribers now, so it's doing a lot better than it used to.
Yeah, that is awesome. So you can fill in the blanks, but so was it about 4 years ago that you did your first challenge?
Well, back in 2010, I won a nationally sponsored body transformation contest sponsored by Men's Health Magazine and then the television show Spartacus on the Stars Network. My transformation basically was I went from 250 down to 223 pounds for my final photos that I took. And I ended up I won, and I got flown out to Auckland, New Zealand to appear on the third episode of the prequel for Spartacus, Gods of the Arena, which was the prequel to Blood and Sand. But basically, to celebrate the massive transformation that I did in that intense diet and exercise program, my buddy and I here in St. Louis, we did a 28-inch pizza challenge at a place called Pointer's Pizza, and we got $500 for finishing it. We were like the 20th or 19th team out of in like 20 years, I think it was,
to finish it.
Yes. Yeah, so then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, wow, I'm pretty good at this. I just had 6-7 pounds of pizza. And then I got ice cream on the way home, and then I had some dinner with my family. I need to check into this. And it was motivation to keep on working out because I spent at Missouri State University and my high school, Duchesne in St. Charles, I was over 300 pounds playing football. So to be 220 with a six-pack, almost an eight-pack, it was pretty incredible. But once I got down there, I needed some more motivation. And one of the things I found was that doing those food challenges, it was kind of fun trying to maintain the lean physique while doing all those challenges. So everything's just kind of evolved from there.
Well, that's exciting. And I remember watching because you had a Munchies documentary done, and you said that you were playing football, you wanted to get bigger. And so you were eating several, was it Subway sandwiches at a time?
Yes. Yeah. Basically, I gained I went into high school weighing about 185 pounds. My sophomore year, I was 205. My junior year, I was 235. And then I wanted to get better. I needed to obviously be heavier so I can push people around. My senior year, I maxed out my weight at 346. So
you got up there.
In about a year, I gained 100 pounds. Yeah, but I was eating. My very first job when I turned 16, I was working at Subway. I was a senior sandwich artist. And I was basically eating 3 double meat footlongs each time I worked.
That's a lot.
And I tried to avoid the meatballs and stuff like that. I tried to keep it a little bit healthy. Yeah. But, it was a lot of food. And then I went from there on to Burger King. And then I worked at an Italian restaurant, and all these places I was able to get a lot of free food. So
Did they ever like put a limit on you? Like, all right, Randy, you can't eat that much food.
no, I mean, fast food places throw away so much food that when an employee wants to eat, it's not really that big of a deal.
No, they're just like,
I mean, obviously some are more strict than others, but the ones I worked for were pretty good about it.
They're like, we're going to throw this away. Do you want it, Randy? And you're just like,
well, yeah, some are like that. And then, I mean, if you're there at the end of the shift for a restaurant, it's just ridiculous what they throw out because of all the health codes. So to just say, hey, I'd like to eat, I mean, they know it's going out anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well let you eat it. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So you played football for Missouri State. How was that?
You know what? It was pretty neat. I was never actually an official. I think my last year that I played, I was on like a 12% scholarship. So it's crazy. Everybody thinks, oh, it'd be so cool to be a football player, but the requirements in order to do that are just ridiculous. I mean, it's meetings every day, meetings about meetings, and then obviously all the practices and everything like that. It was a very, very cool experience. But it was definitely an experience, I guess. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you're strong. You're definitely strong. Is that where you started? Was it high school where you really started lifting the weights, or was it like more? Did you get a lot more serious into in college, or?
Well, I started basically lifting around when most people do. Around when I turned about 13, my dad showed me a lot of the various exercises and stuff. But once I started gaining the weight, I was able to lift more. Obviously, when you are heavier, you obviously can lift more
weight.
But it's been since I was like 13 that I've been lifting ever since.
That's awesome.
So I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, and one of the things that I remember you saying is part of that lifting is what helps you with the food challenges that you do.
Oh yeah, definitely. The more fit you are, because I can definitely tell. Like I'll finish a tour like 50 pounds heavier than I started. And you can definitely tell that your performance is a lot better when you're more fit and in shape.
Right. You just got done with a huge tour.
Yes. Yeah. I basically did it was ridiculous. It was a 78-day tour. I went basically to like 25 eastern states. I went to every eastern state other than Florida because I've already got a bunch of food challenge wins there. And I basically got 2 or more food challenge wins other than in Delaware. And I think there was one other state, but it was ridiculous. 10,750 miles.
Wow.
And then I did 8 challenges in Canada as well. I'd never been there before. It's pretty cool up there.
A lot of the poutine? What are they?
Poutine, yeah. Yeah, I think there were like 3 or 4 challenges with that. I couldn't go up there without doing some. And then smoked meat or something like that in Montreal was really good as well. But it's basically kind of like pulled pork.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So just, how was that like just... I just imagine the hours just on the road and were a lot of your challenges in between? Like, were they? Did you not have to travel that far, or did you like what was?
Oh no, there were like 7 or 8 times where I had to drive over 5 hours.
Yeah.
So it was tons of time in the car, but it's all good because the first day actually, when I was driving to Chicago to start out the trip, I was like, holy cow, I'm already getting tired of driving. This is going to suck.
Did it get easier?
But then you get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually fun, too. I mean, if you have good music, and especially when you're driving through states like West Virginia, the scenery is just ridiculous. And then on top of that, you just think about how many people are sitting there hating their life at their desk job or something
and you're
like
out
that.
Doing what you want
and then
to
to think that I'm thinking about bitching about driving through this mountain, this awesome, beautiful state. You're like, I gotta shut up.
And at the very end, you get to eat some really good food.
Oh yeah. I did all the totals for the trip, and I ended up eating over $2,800 worth of food during my trip, and I got it all for free.
All for free.
Yeah.
Do you find that as the case of most challenges, or like if you do this, it's free, or I know sometimes you say like they are on your videos like I had to pay for this one.
Well, every now and then they're not free, but I typically don't do that many that aren't free because if they're not free, that means they're usually pretty smaller.
Okay.
Like somebody's not going to have a 3-pound challenge and give it out for free because they'll be giving out too many free meals. But if I do too many small meals, my subscribers kind of complain.
Okay.
That what are you doing this for? Obviously, you knew you were going to win that.
Interesting. I didn't think about that side of it where people are like, hey, where's the 12-pound challenge?
Yeah, like I did a 2-kilogram curry, which I did in like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And people are like, that's not a challenge.
You could do that blindfolded.
Yeah, but the good thing is there's not many challenges like that. Most of them are burgers and things like that. There's not a whole lot of, for example, pho. Have you ever had the Asian soup?
I've heard about it. But...
Oh, yeah. There's like none in Missouri, but they do real well as far as YouTube hits.
Yeah.
So I did 3 during my trip at Vietnamese restaurants.
Wow.
So, yeah, the good thing about my trips is that I'm able to switch everything up and get a lot of variety in there.
Yeah, because I know you just finished up the videos, Hell Week, where you and the Mantis.
Yeah, the Mantis. Ramsey the Mantis Hilton.
Dr.
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Doctor, yeah, that is very true. Everybody was like, how is he a doctor? But he's not like a medical doctor.
Yeah.
He's a chemical engineer.
That's awesome.
PhD, yeah. But no, we ate, for everybody listening, we basically went around in 1 week. We called it Hell Week, which we just kind of off the military name, I guess.
You guys
the Hell
ate
Week.
So much
yeah,
pizza.
we basically went and did. Well, we were originally going to do 7 team pizza challenges in 7 days, but we found that Ramsey is basically, I'm number 1 as far as food challenge wins.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not the number 1 eaters.
Yeah.
But as far as food challenge wins of going to different restaurants and doing various challenges.
You're sneaking up on 400, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm at 363 now. Well, Ramsey's at like 290. Well, we joined up and did, for a full week, we went around and did 7 pizza challenges, 1 each day, but we found that it was just too easy.
Yeah. Those first few videos,
we were just smashing the challenges in like 10,
records,
12 minutes. Yeah. So we decided on that Saturday and Sunday that we were just going to really make it Hell Week, and we did 2 each day.
I remember the last day, you're like, I'm feeling the pizza from the day before.
Yeah, we basically ate 90 pounds total. So we each ate about 45 pounds of pizza in 7 days.
Wow.
So whenever anybody tells me they love pizza, I let them know that so that they can know that they don't love it that much.
Until you've eaten 45 pounds of pizza in a week, I'm telling you.
And I ate pizza again like 3 days later. You would think after eating that much you would eat it again for a while. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Do you ever approach a challenge and you're just like, all right, another burger, or do you just get excited for every one of these challenges?
Mostly, yeah. I mean, I still get excited. I think if I didn't get excited at all, I'd probably quit.
Right.
But the only real thing, one thing that if you do a lot of competitive eating and food challenges, you will get a really warped sense of what a lot of food is.
Okay.
Like I'll be sitting there with like a 10-ounce burger patty.
Yeah.
And this little portion of fries, and I'll be like, okay, I mean, this isn't that much, but then I'll have somebody next to me that obviously isn't warped yet, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so much food.
How are you going to eat that?
How are you going to eat all that? It would take me 2 days. Well, like, I mean, here I am sitting. I can do this in 5 minutes, and they're like, so you just got to, I guess. Yeah, I don't even know how to even recover from that. It's just how I'll be, I guess.
I've seen some of your videos where it just felt like the more you shoveled, it just didn't feel like you even made a dent in it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how is he going to finish that? And then you just keep chipping away at it and you keep going.
Yeah, there's some, like I've done like a 7-pound bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, and the first pound or 2 that you eat, you're eating all this spaghetti, but there's still a ton left.
Haven't you done that twice?
So it's a big mental game. Yeah, I have done that
because you did
twice.
One for your training video.
Yes, I did a how-to video with it, and I did it years ago when I was first starting. I was trying to knock out all the St. Louis challenges.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one. It's at the Hill.
Yes.
And my parents went and ate at that restaurant, and I was like,
oh, yeah. They've got good food, and apparently, I mean, a lot of people try to claim it. But St. Louis is very famous for its toaster ravioli.
Yeah.
A lot of restaurants try to claim it, but from what I understand, it's one of the first places, if not the creator, that actually started it. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I really admire is you do these training videos on and you have your website, foodchallenges.com. And so if anyone really wants to do a challenge, or even think about doing a challenge, putting away that kind of food, you pretty much map out how someone could.
Yeah, I get a lot of emails from people wanting to know. They say, hey, I've got this burger challenge coming up. I've got this contest coming up. What should I do? And it's easy now because I spent over a year putting foodchallenges.com together,
right,
where basically there's over 150 articles, like 50 to 60 of them are for restaurants, helping them design a better challenge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of restaurant challenges aren't that smart as far as promotion-wise and things like that. But 100 of the articles are for people who want to basically learn how. Our little tagline is "Win before you begin."
Yeah.
And the 3 words of that are train, strategize, dominate. So it basically, all of the articles teach you how to do all that and then even recover once you get done. Because if you do that much food, especially if you're like a first or second timer and you're not used to that, I mean, you'll feel miserable.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of tips even to help you recover faster.
How do you approach that recovery, especially when you're on one of those trips where you're doing sometimes 2 challenges in a day? Like that Hell Week, how did you? Were you eating just that one time a day?
Oh yeah. Like on this 78-day trip we just talked about, I probably ate about 90 meals.
Okay, so you just barely, like, if you stayed at a hotel, you wouldn't go and get.
Yeah, no, you don't really do the hotel breakfast. I mean, if you're going to do the breakfast, you have maybe some juice, maybe something small if you're eating a late challenge. But I drink stupid amounts of coffee. I'm doing a big teeth whitening thing right now, just because of it's a diuretic,
right?
And it also helps. At least we thought it did. Helps get some of the food through.
But fiber.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, not in the coffee.
Yeah.
But when you're doing these food challenges, typically most people that are into them, they won't even do more than like 2 a week. I mean, when you're first starting and you're really trying to figure yourself out, it's a big deal to do like 2 or 3 in 1 week.
Yeah.
But I'll do 9 in a week.
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to basically, and it's not my first time, obviously. Back when I was first starting, I did the most I've ever done in 1 day, which I don't think I'll ever try to break. But I did 4 food challenges in 22 hours and didn't ever throw up or anything.
Wow.
So the third one was a spicy one, but what that does to your body, it's not good.
I used to eat a lot of Mexican. I lived in Southern California for a while, and lived with this Mexican family, and they would, when you eat something spicy, they call it the repica, the reburn.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about spicy food. Is it burns going in and it burns going out.
Yeah, and you've done some of those ghost chili stuff. I can't handle that spicy.
Oh no, those ruin you.
Yeah, I'd bet it'd take a few days to recover just from that. Does it?
Well, that's one reason I don't do a whole lot of spicy food challenges when I'm on my tour, because it would mess me up for a while. Yeah, and especially when I'm on a USA tour, I'm sleeping in my car and stuff like that. You're not able to, if you're eating ghost peppers and stuff, I mean, you basically would have to spend a whole night in the bathroom.
Yeah, gosh.
Just because even if you don't actually have to go, your stomach is like trying to force it out, and don't eat them. It's stupid. It's not worth a $7 free meal. I'll tell you that.
So I love that win before you begin, or did I say that right? Win before you begin. Yeah,
win before you begin.
And when did that come into? Because I know, like, as you're probably doing it, you're formulating all these ideas and stuff like that. When did you realize that was your go-to, your motto?
When I was mapping out foodchallenges.com, because I started with randysantel.com, and I had a bunch of tips on there for food challenges and general nutrition and health advice.
Right.
But then, obviously, I needed to redo foodchallenges.com because I had the domain name, which wasn't easy to get, and all this other stuff, and I wanted to actually be legitimate with it. So I was just, most of the time, and most of my best thoughts were while I was at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not thinking about it, but I was kind of thinking about it, and it just kind of came to me while I was relieving the stress and everything like that, and it just kind of came, and I was like, huh. And then I looked, obviously, if you think of a good idea nowadays, you got to automatically look it up.
Yeah.
Just to see
if it's there.
Somebody's probably already done it.
Right.
But I think the only people that use win before you begin is some it's like an Indian dentist or something.
Nice.
I don't even really understand how he even uses it.
I mean, when he goes to clean someone's teeth, he's like, I'm going to dominate this.
Yeah. So, and I developed the train, strategize, dominate. It kind of just incorporates everything. Because with food challenges, you have to be ready. You have to have. It doesn't matter what your strategy is. If you can't, you can't fit 5 pounds into a 4-pound bag.
Right.
So you got to be able to train yourself so that you get that 5-pound capacity if you're doing a 5-pound challenge.
Yeah.
Because if you can't fit it, your strategy doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you got to train, then you have the proper strategy, because strategy does make a difference. I mean, you can't just take a 5-pound burger and just start eating it.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about your videos is you're just like, I see a pattern. You, like, every now and then you know the rules, and so every now and then you break them just because of there might be a wild card in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I love watching. You're like, all right, I'm going to eat the protein first, get the size down, and then you'll start eating the starches, which is awesome when you eat the fries. You just
fries.
You're like, this is the part the ladies like.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, is that just do over time? Because I remember watching some of your first videos, you would just eat the burger.
Yes, yeah, and what he's talking about for everybody listening is I basically started this when I was very early on. I basically lost a big barbecue challenge because there was 1.5 pounds of fries left, and they were cold, and there was a ton of them, and I was eating them so slow that I basically ran out of time on the challenge and I lost. So I developed this method that I always say, it's funny because you always say, oh, this is what the ladies love. I basically just ball up the fries into one big ball, because by crushing it, it basically kind of already breaks up the fries so that they're easier to consume faster. And then I'll basically just take a massive series of bites.
And you always get a big reaction.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, you don't, a woman sitting there with on a date isn't going to be watching her boyfriend or whatever just take a whole ball of fries. I mean, that's not exactly mannerly. But it does the job, and I know a lot of other people that do it, and they win as well.
Yeah, so. and that's the cool thing is just things you just don't think about, but watching someone do it, you're like, oh.
No, yeah, and that's the thing, too, is entertainment is not even one of the top 3 goals of our channel.
Yeah.
It's mostly to promote food challenges and competitive eating and teach people how to do them.
Yeah.
Because as the number one, and really I'm the only person that actually gives out tips and things too.
Right.
So I try to always make sure to, if somebody's going to watch, say for example, a challenge in Springfield, if they're wanting to do it, they're able to get on, know that if they know that I did the challenge, they're able to basically check out what strategy they need to do.
Yeah, I've done that. So I'm a successor. I haven't quite done the challenge, but you did the Bears challenge down.
Oh yeah, that's a big
5-pound burger and 1.5 pounds of fries.
And then the fries, yeah.
And so I watched that one, and I was just like, I'm gonna try that one. My wife's like, you're crazy, and I'm like, Randy Santel did it. I could not. But well, that's cool, and I like the your motto, because I mean I think you can apply it in several things in life.
Well, it can go anywhere. Yeah.
I mean, like in the weight room.
Yeah.
I know when you approach a lift or something heavy, or you're about to hit a max or something. If you don't visualize yourself doing it, completing it, I miss sometimes. I do a lot of like Olympic lifts and really technical, and if I get psyched up or psych myself out.
Yeah, you got to be confident. Yeah, and that's one of the things is with Dominate, the end. You obviously train, you strategize, and with that, you're able to maintain the confidence that you need. You can't go into a food challenge saying, oh, I hope I win this.
Yeah.
You got to go into it knowing that you will.
Yeah.
And you can take one before you begin, and you can apply it to your job. I mean, how many people fail transformations?
Right.
I mean, you're into weight loss and stuff like that because they think that they can just start without doing a whole lot of research or knowing what programs they should use or anything like that. They don't win before they begin, and they basically get into it a little bit. They're doing everything wrong, and rather than spend the time to research everything, they just quit.
Yeah. Let's dive into the weight loss, because you talked about at the very beginning how you put on a ton of weight for football. But then for your transformation, that contest you won, you took off a ton of weight and got shredded. Because, I mean, you had 6-pack. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, basically, like I said, I played college football around 325 pounds. And then once I retired from football, I mean, nobody needs to be 325 pounds unless you're a football lineman.
Right.
So then I started getting my weight down, and it was just kind of a gradual thing. I didn't really know a whole lot of what I was doing, but I kept on doing that research on all the various sites and things like that. And I ended up basically kind of, and really, I can't say that I was that smart when I won the contest, because it's funny that this never kind of goes said ever, that I basically finished the contest. I think the final date was March 12th.
Okay.
Yes. And then we basically did my first food challenge March 19th in 2010.
Okay, so
I've got the dates. But then Men's Health dropped the ball, and they waited like 4 months to announce the contest winner.
Okay.
Well, I gave up after like 2 months on ever hearing from them, or as far as who the winner would be.
Yeah.
So, and since I never really taught myself about the various nutrition-related things, and I didn't really have the proper mindset, it was more of what today's people do. It's all about the working out part of it.
Right.
And I didn't focus enough on the nutrition. Well, I gained basically like, I'd say 20 of the pounds back.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have my 6-pack anymore. And plus, I had done like 4 or 5 food challenges. So the training for those, I mean, I wasn't as good as I am now, as far as I needed to train a lot more than I do now. So I ended up, I don't remember, I was just feeling bitchy one day. And I sent this email to Men's Health talking about how it's ridiculous that they did this, that if you're going to have people working so hard for 12 weeks to lose all this weight, I mean, I don't need to be told that I won, but we want to know who won.
Yeah.
So then, like 4 days later, I get an email saying, "You won."
You won. We were just waiting for the first
So then I was like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, shit.
Oh, here we go.
So then I basically had to retransform again.
And how was that kind of that switch in your head where you're just like, okay, it's go time? I mean, like, because you talked about, I think I saw on your website that from this last challenge, this trip that you did, you put on 50 pounds.
Yes.
And so, like, and I know that one of your videos that you did, like, kind of like, not a challenge video, but you're like, hey, I'm getting ready to do this tour. You're going to see these videos. You're like, I'm going to try to lose weight afterwards. Like, how do you approach, instead of like, hey, I got to lose this much weight to win a contest, but how do you approach, like, hey, I just got done with this tour, I put on some weight. How do you approach that diet?
For me, the weight loss is actually easier than the food challenges. Like, I know people listening can't see it, but we're in I call it our international headquarters, which is just my mom and dad's basement.
Yeah.
But I've got a map that maps out all of my weight loss and everything like that. It's going to take me about 3.5 months to lose about 65 pounds. So I started 21 days ago at 329 pounds, and now I'm at 310.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to continue at that rapid rate.
Right.
But it will obviously continue, because while, they do say that your hormones and everything and the ease of losing weight slows down as you get older, but also I'm 29 now, and loser is not the proper type, but all of my friends are married and they have their kids and they don't do anything anymore. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not just going to go to a bar by myself. Yeah. So, I mostly just work on all my stuff that I'm doing, and there's not a whole lot of, like back when I was in 2010, I was trying to lose that weight, but it was that much harder because every weekend I had somebody saying, hey, let's go to the bar, let's drink some beers, let's do this, let's go tailgate this game and stuff like that. But now it's you don't have all that distraction.
Were you down in Springfield then, or were you back up?
No, I was in Kansas City actually. Okay. Yeah, I spent I graduated from Missouri State in Springfield, and then I basically moved up to Kansas City for like 6-7 years. Okay. So, and then I moved back to St. Louis, where I'm originally from, or St. Peter's, St. Charles at the end of 2013.
Okay. My wife, she graduated from Fort Zumwalt South.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and her
Fort
brother.
Fertility.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like, I think they were on like a talk show.
Yeah, they were on a night show.
Yeah, for having like the most pregnancy. And they had a daycare in their school. So my wife.
Well, from what I understand, it's kind of like they say Springfield is like the STD capital of the world. There's the numbers are skewed.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see it anywhere.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, like. I went off on that tangent there. Yeah, good old Missouri State. But so you started doing food challenges, and when did you decide that, like, hey, I'm going to really run with this? Is that when you put together foodchallenges.com, or?
Well, when I started doing the food challenges, I realized that there was basically no resource that anybody could legitimately turn to for tips.
Yeah.
Like if you get on and search for tips for food challenges, and if you exclude everything related to stuff that I've done, you get nothing.
Yeah.
So I basically, if you read books, and I was into because the other thing too is I graduated from Missouri State with a construction management degree, but once I started really getting into construction management and a couple years into working, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I wasn't doing the whole, like, the carpentry, I wasn't doing the labor and stuff, but the office side of it, the construction world is just continually just going downhill. Just because people aren't like they used to be.
Yeah.
There's no handshaking anymore.
Yeah.
It's either a signature or I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And if it's verbal, you can assume they're not going to do it.
They're not going to follow through.
Yeah, so, and I'm not big on, like, if I shake a guy's hand and say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So for people like that, you're going to get your ass handed to you, basically, in the construction world, because the signature is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So I was trying to obviously think of ways to get out of that kind of, and I realized that food challenges a lot of people do it, especially thanks to Man vs. Food. I didn't start because of Man vs. Food, and I haven't even watched all the shows, to be honest. But it was a lot of people getting into it, and then nobody knew what they were doing. Nobody was able to win before they began because, nobody had ever even... Most of the eaters involved, all they do is they eat and then they go home. There's no promotion of the sport or anything like that, and then all the people running the sport just are awful. MLE and all pro's about done, but the way that I'm not going to sit here and talk all kinds of crap on them, but the way that they're running the organization is no way that promotes it at all. So anybody that says competitive eating is a growing sport is a liar.
So it's like...
It's mostly dying.
You can't break into it, or is it just like...
Well, no, as far as... Basically, when I started in 2010, there were so many contests that you could do and all this. The number is probably about half, I'd say, now in 2015. Like in St. Louis, I don't even think there's more than five eating contests that actually award prizes throughout the year.
Wow. I kind of follow Matt Stoney.
Yes.
And it just... It feels like it's always the same 8-9 people up on the stage.
Yeah, no, you can always, other than this past Nathan's, you can basically, if you give a contest and obviously, the same people are there all the time. I could give the top 10 in order.
Yeah. Joey Chestnut.
And I would rarely, well, now it's Matt Stone and Joey Chestnut.
Yeah.
And then there's a girl, Mickey Sudo, and a couple others. Yeah, they. It's not hard to guess the order.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, and also because the MLE doesn't realize that there's a site called YouTube out there.
Yeah.
that you can actually promote the videos, and you can push the videos so that people can watch and actually follow the sport. If you wanted to guess how many people follow competitive eating, you couldn't.
Right.
Because there's no way. MLE's Twitter has like 4,000 and stuff like that. Over 1 million people watch Nathan's on 4th of July. But other than that,
and then
there's no
one
real
thinks about it
serious
again
following.
afterwards. Yeah. And that's funny. When I asked Facebook if anyone had any questions for you, my buddy Dylan, so I'll ask it now, Dylan Harris, he's one of my nutrition coaches. He's like, is Randy ever going to do Nathan's? Is that something to do? I feel like...
No, Nathan's is actually, in order to compete in that event, you have to basically sign an exclusive contract with Major League Eating.
You wouldn't be able to do
saying that you'll only do their events. Like if you do watch Matt Stoney's videos, which I mean obviously tons of people do. He's got over 1 million subscribers now, but everything he does is filmed in his house.
Yeah,
because he signed this contract with Major League Eating that basically doesn't allow him to do anything else.
So he can't.
So I wouldn't be able to do the 78-day tour. I wouldn't be able to go to Europe all summer like I am.
Wow.
Upcoming, I would have to.
So even like just a company. So if I was a restaurant, I made my own challenge by contract. Matt
wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, you'd have to contact Major League Eating, and then you'd have to pay a fee to have him come. Which wouldn't even, most of it wouldn't even go to him.
Wow.
So, but yeah, it works out good for Matt. I mean, Matt makes more on his YouTube channel than he does eating.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, oh, he's the #1 competitive eater. But, I mean, being the #1 competitive eater, I mean, as far as eating-wise, he probably makes less than the 100th best UFC fighter.
Yeah.
So it's just where the sport is in the world as far as, I guess, acceptance and popularity. I mean, everybody with an affliction shirt thinks they can fight. But, I mean, yeah, a lot of people say that they can do competitive eating, but doing one competitive eating contest is one thing.
Yeah.
For example, a lot of people, I mean, obviously a lot of people follow me as far as for food challenges.
Right.
And I'll get a lot of emails. But people want to do a food challenge with me. They want to do this. They want to do that. Well, they're these new people that haven't been around long enough to know that there's no glory in competitive eating and food challenges. So they start doing all these food challenges around them, and they're like, oh, wow, I'm really good at this. But then once they get done with their food challenges around them, then they got to start traveling and things like that, and then it's not worth it to them, and they quit.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I'm just getting a free.
So I mean, they'll still be fans, I guess, watch the videos, but as far as their own doing, they don't really do a whole lot anymore.
So like people that do what you do, so I mean, like there's Magic Mitch, there's Dr. Mantis.
Well, that's the thing too.
I mean, you have your community, because a lot of times you're like, hey, this person has this record here. I know him. He's a good friend of mine. I'm gonna beat it.
Yeah.
And so but it sounds like you guys kind of have like a circle of people a community.
Yes. Well, yeah, and it's a not a very big community. I know that. But yeah, I mean, all the people that, like, if you go into a restaurant and they have a food challenge, I'll basically, I mean, I've done quite a bit, obviously, so I kind of know what most people can probably do the challenge in.
Yeah.
So if I hear a ridiculous number, I basically ask who it was, and 99% of the time I know the person.
That's cool.
And it's one of 10. So there's like 10 people that I'd say if you took there's probably about 2,000 food challenges in the United States. If you took every challenge and gave me the record holder, I'd say you'd basically have maybe 15 names.
Wow.
Would make up 90% of the list.
Wow. That's, I mean.
Yeah.
And those are people that are out traveling, doing these things for fun, or just people that are just
mostly
like, hey,
fun. Yeah, I mean, as far as food challenges is, most people don't have a Mitch.
Yeah.
Having Mitch is ridiculously awesome.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize all the videos. Yeah, it takes me 15 minutes to eat this burger or something like that.
Editing.
But it takes 10 hours to edit the thing.
I love your old videos because you'd be like, yummy!
Yeah, I used to edit the videos, and I mean, most of them don't have that many views because they suck. I mean, I didn't go to school for any of that stuff, but I know Mitch did. My friend Magic Mitch up in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
home of the just lost Packers.
Yeah.
But he went to school for all that video editing stuff, and he can also eat.
Yeah.
He's done about 75 food challenges, so I'll take him over to Europe with me.
That's awesome.
And not only does he film the challenges and edit them and everything else, but also I don't have to pay for his food because he does his challenges too.
That's cool.
So yeah, I mean, anything under 6 pounds really he'll do.
He'll knock it out.
And he'll have a video on his own channel as well.
That's cool. That's
so it works out good.
On the tour that you guys just did, he did a handful of his own challenges.
Yeah, right? He did 32 challenges. Wow. Yeah, plus he did 3 with me.
That's cool. Now, when you go out to do a challenge, I know that sometimes you have Magic Mitch and why can't I think of his first name? The Mantis.
Ramsey, the Mantis Hilton. Yeah.
Ramsey. Those are kind of like your go-tos, but every now and then you have a few other people. Is it just like...
Well, some people call me up or they Instagram me or something like that, and they say, hey, I'd like to do a challenge with you, and I don't turn anybody down. I mean, if you're going to watch all my videos, I'm a fan of you as well. You're more than welcome to do a challenge with me. You just have to know that if you suck, then YouTube people are going to obliterate you in the comments. Like during this past trip, I went to Nashville, and I did a food challenge with this really pretty girl that has done a few food challenges in Arkansas, and then her boyfriend went along as well. She's this really pretty skinnier girl, and her boyfriend did it. Well, he lost.
Yeah.
I set the record by doing it in like 12 minutes. She finished behind me in like 16 or 17 minutes.
So she did it.
And then he lost. So that guy is going to get obliterated on the YouTube comments. I'm excited to listen because it's not only going to do well because of her being in it and winning, but also because the girlfriend wins, and he doesn't even really come close.
Do you tease him in the video?
Oh, no, I don't really tease him that well, but I know I talked to her afterwards a couple days later, and she said that his work people just lit him up about how it's almost like wrestling and losing to a girl.
Did he, like,
if you lose a food challenge, he didn't really come close.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you either... Food challenges isn't a self-taught thing. I mean, you're genetically predisposed.
Yeah, if you can eat.
I mean, you can be good, but for example, probably anybody listening today, you, me, we could train for years and never compete with Matt Stoney.
Yeah, I mean that guy's a freak of nature.
Yeah, it's just a genetic kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, his body allows him to be able to do that. Obviously, he's trained his ass off.
Right.
He can eat way more, because we started around 2010.
Okay.
He can eat way more than he used to be able to, and he can eat it so much faster. But
21 pounds
he's genetically predisposed to be able to eat like that. Like, there's another girl that used to live in Omaha, Nebraska, but now she's in California, named Molly.
Okay.
She's ridiculous. I mean, she ate 3 72-ounce steaks.
Wow.
She basically, everybody knows about the 72-ounce steak challenge at the Big Texan Steakhouse in Amarillo, Texas.
Yeah.
Well, the old record was like 8 minutes or something like that, 7 minutes, or even the record for eating a 72-ounce steak in general was like just under 6 minutes and change.
Okay.
Well, Molly went and did a 72-ounce steak in Oregon, I think, in like 3 minutes and 21 seconds.
How do you do that? I mean, like,
she basically
cut it up beforehand, or does she just
there's no cutting at all. It's just like she's a cave woman. She basically just picks the steak up, basically takes a bite, and the reason that she is so good and the reason that Matt is so good and people like Joey Chestnut is that basically if it's in their mouth, they can swallow it.
Yeah. So,
like, for me, I have to take a lot of small bites and then put some water in my mouth and then sip it and get it down.
That's one of the things I like, because when you're chewing, you do this little bounce thing and then you tilt your head back.
Yeah, because, like, and people always ask how you swallow faster, and I always teach them about how CPR works.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, you can't give CPR to somebody with their chin down.
Right.
You got to open up their throat and basically then breathe into them and all that stuff. Well, you can't swallow with your chin down either.
Okay.
So you got to kick your head back, swallow, and if you have some water in it and everything like that, and then if you've trained yourself a little bit, you'll be able to do it. Because if you're doing a speed eating contest, if you're chewing, you're kind of wasting time.
Yeah. Well, and you get fatigued in your anything.
Yes. Yeah. If you're doing like this big old pizza with this really chewy crust, if you chew too long, or even a really chewy, overcooked steak, your jaw's going to get tired.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to perform that well. So a lot of competitive eaters, they'll chew a lot of gum and things like that in order to train their jaw for endurance. That's strength and things like that.
That's so cool. And so have you had, like, you said that guy kind of got made, he's going to get torn apart in the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you had someone just, like, totally, like, hey, I can crush it, let's do this, and, like, epically fall on his face? Or is that just basically, does that happen a lot? Or?
No, most of the people that do the food challenges with me, and same with this guy, I mean, I don't like cocky people.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just eating. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, I treat it like a big deal, but I don't treat it like I'm a big deal.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all I'm doing is eating a freaking meal.
Yeah.
So most of the people I do food challenges with, they're not cocky. They're more just excited to see me and to do a challenge with me and things like that. Most of them haven't even freaking trained. So, I mean, I always know, and that's one of the things, too, is if a guy wants to do a food challenge with me, I can tell if he's going to win or lose.
Like that mindset thing again.
Well, yeah, I mean, really not even the mindset, but just how he is.
Okay.
You can tell how he's acting, if he knows what he's doing, if he's never done one before and it's a challenge that he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not going to crush his dreams and say, you're going to lose this. You know that, right? So, I mean, you just got to let him figure it out on his own and try to, the thing I'm worried about is making sure the video is good.
Good, yeah.
Because if the video sucks, I can't make any money.
How have you had to develop kind of a thick skin against those trolls, those YouTube commenters? You know what? No, I've never really, I don't really get too involved with any of that. Yeah. Because there's not really anybody, in order for me to buy your opinion, I've got to also buy your lifestyle and a lot of other things. Right. And really, if you're sitting there commenting on YouTube videos and stuff, especially a whole bunch of different ones about, this, blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, you're obviously not too happy with what you're doing in life. Right. So, I mean, I don't get bothered by that at all, to be honest. I mean, like, I'll try to feed him some comments and stuff like that just to piss him off. But it's not, it doesn't keep me up at night. Yeah, that's good. I'm the kind of person, like, I had a guy on one of my episodes, I guess the audio was really bad, but it was, like I said, I'm learning how to do this. I don't know everything. Like you said, your first videos, you're just like, I just did it. Oh, well, that's the thing, too, and you'll deal with this as well. My videos in 2011, 2010, we've had 3 camera evolutions since then. Yeah. So, obviously the quality was much worse, and then I did those stupid intros where I'm sitting there at my kitchen table flexing like an idiot saying, hey, this is Atlas. People watch those videos and they don't look at the date stamp. Yeah. They think that I just filmed it yesterday. Yeah. And in reality, that was 4 years ago. Yeah. People change a little bit over the course of time. You get to know their light. Yes. And your approaches. Now let's talk about your intros, because you're kind of. I love your intros. My kids try to emulate your intros. My daughter, she's 7. Okay. And she'll sit down for dinner, and then she'll look at me. She's like, "Hey, everybody!" Because she wants to do a challenge, and she's like, "This is Randy Santel." My daughter tries to do your intro. Well, that's the thing is a lot of people, because if you look at my videos, it's obvious that I don't. I flex in every. There isn't a video I haven't. That's your trademark. That's your trademark. Yeah. Well, people act because I don't think I've done an actual arms workout since playing college football, right? Which was 2007. So people are like, oh, what's he doing flexing those? And then that shirt I used to wear, these aren't guns, they're cannons. Yeah. They're like, those are freaking pipe cleaners and stuff like that. But the flexing is from
basically not only when you beat something, like I said in that Vice Munchies video, show it who's daddy.
Yeah.
But also there are so many kids that watch the videos with their parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they're flexing and doing stuff like that. It's mostly for people like that.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go hand in hand with what I'm wanting to do in the future, as far as help people with weight management and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Once you get done, you're all excited and proud of yourself. You flex.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, after a UFC fight or anything like that, they're like, "Oh yeah,
look what I just did."
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, not many people are going to say, "Oh yeah, that 140-pound guy has massive arms." Yeah. But he just whooped that guy's ass, so he can flex all he wants. Yeah.
And you just dominated a 12-pound challenge, so like I'm gonna flex
there you
on
go,
it. Yeah. And so one of the things that how I found your videos is when I started losing weight, one thing I do is the first time I lost weight. This is my second time around. I watched Man vs. Food.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Food Network. I watched those things, and I don't know why, but that was just like I didn't eat when I watched that because I was watching other people eat. It's just kind of I don't know what switched in my brain, but I was just YouTubing competitive eating.
Actually, there's a guy named Alex Moreno.
Mm-hmm.
He just won his very first UFC fight. And the reason I've been talking about fighting is because it's kind of been in my head that he watches my videos. And this is how he friended me and let me know and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I watched his first fight and all that. He watches the videos while he's cutting.
Yeah.
Because he watches me eat these ridiculous meals.
You're just living through it.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's not there wanting to eat it himself, I guess.
And so I started just watching these YouTube videos, and that's how I got to know the people that I know in the world. But I remember I was watching Matt Stoney, Furious Pete, those videos, and then all of a sudden, like, you might like this one. And I watched it, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, Randy Santel, and, like, you did your intro, and I was like, just that, hey, everybody, and I was just like...
Well, the good thing, too, is that whether you watch the first or the 363rd, well, not the first. I didn't start that type of intro until a little bit because I didn't get obviously I didn't do my first food challenge thinking, hey, I'm gonna have 500 of these things. I didn't even know there were 500 out there. So everything didn't evolve into what it is now.
Right.
Like the very, very excited and all that for a little bit. But I don't even remember where I was going with this. But people love it. But the very, very excited, if I don't say very, very excited on a video, people will like complain about it. I'm like, well, that to me gets a little bit monotonous.
Yeah.
So I don't say it in everything, but I'll always have that was my point out of this, is that whether you watch the first video or like the 50th video or the 300th, you'll be able to, hey everybody, I've edited like everyone. Yeah. This is Randy Santel, Atlas with Atlas and Zeus Promotions and proud owner of foodchallenges.com. Very, very excited today. I'm here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And like I've had probably about 10, I'd say, parents Facebook me or tweet me or whatever with videos of their kids basically doing the intro before their meal, because this is another thing I was going to say is that there's some people like anorexics and bulimics and people with eating disorders that as part of their recovery, they'll basically eat along with me.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is pretty neat.
That is cool.
Like even, I just found out about this like a year ago. There's an eating disorder called orthorexia.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
Well, it's basically where you're addicted to clean eating.
Okay.
Where like you put like even a fortune cookie or something like that in somebody's face, or you tell them not to work out, they'll like start freaking out.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a couple people that used to have that where they watch me eat these ridiculous meals.
And it becomes like okay kind of in their mind?
Not so much okay, but they're able to get through.
It's like facing a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this guy is eating this. Mm-hmm. I can eat this.
I can eat.
This guy ate this 5-pound cheeseburger. I can eat this half-pound.
That's cool.
So that's cool. Stuff like that. But there's people watching them for a whole bunch of different reasons.
I bet you would never have imagined when you started this, like you would get.
It's funny to think, oh, people watch me eat.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's helpful.
Yeah, it's been fun for me. Like I subscribe to your channel, so every time I see a video go up, I'm like, oh, I get to watch a Randy Santel video tonight. And so one of the cool things you do in every video too is you transform. You want to tell people about that?
Well, basically, for anybody that's watched one of the best movies ever created by Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top. Most guys know it. I don't know how many women, but basically, he arm wrestles, and before every arm wrestling match, he'll basically turn his hat around, and he'll basically transform into what he calls a machine, just like his truck that he drives. Well, I took that, and I have it in mine, and I've got this hat, basically, that has my foodchallenges.com logo on it. Well, then the back says Atlas on it. So right before I start eating, I'll basically say my prayers, and then I will take a deep breath, I'll turn my hat around, and I'll basically transform into Atlas. Yeah. Which I've had that little nickname ever since I started. Okay. But then I'll transform into Atlas, and then it's God help any food sitting in front of me.
Yeah, and it was funny because before you got your Atlas hat, you had your Missouri State hat.
Yes.
And that was when we realized that you went to Missouri, because my wife, she's an alum from Missouri State. Okay. And she was like, he's wearing a Bears hat. And you're like, no. And so we looked and we're like, yep, you're Missouri State alum.
Yeah. I played football there, and I got a construction management degree, graduated in 2008. But it's funny, the name Atlas, it comes from an Atlas and Zeus Promotions is what I first called it. Right. A guy I went out with last night, actually, was Zeus. Okay. We did the first Pointosaurus Pizza Challenge together. Yeah. So he did that first challenge with me because he originally had lost with another partner, and then he knew that I was pretty good, so he decided to invite me along, and we just smoked the thing. But then he did the second challenge I ever did with me. He lost, and then he never did another challenge again, but I just kind of continued with it. You got the edge. And basically, in 2010, it was right around the time when Jersey Shore was popular. Okay. So the situation and all these nicknames and stuff like that. So most competitive eaters have cool nicknames. So before our big challenge, we were trying to think of cool names to have. Yeah. So he decided that he wanted to be Zeus, and then if he was going to be Zeus, I was going to be Atlas, which it's really cool because, and I always say this to Mitch one time, we get into little verbal, just talking crap to each other. Talking trash, yeah. So when we were on a trip or something, and because Atlas and his whole thing with the world, holding the world up and our logo and stuff like that, and he was saying something to me, and I said, Mitch, I'm Atlas. You stick with me, I'll show you the world.
I'll show you the world, and you are. You're taking him to Europe.
He's going with me to Europe all of June and July for my 30th birthday, and
that's awesome.
A couple other places,
So, how's the popularity of your videos out there? Because this will be your third or fourth trip.
Actually, the United States is an awful market as far as doing food challenges because Man vs. Food was 2008, 2009, 2010. He quit in 2012. Yeah. Or the end of 2011, really.
He did where he's training people for
Man vs. Food Nation, which was awful.
Yeah.
Because they didn't pick any eaters that could even eat.
No, a lot of people fell.
3/4 of the people lost, and then they obviously had to quit that because nobody wants to watch. I mean, it's cool to watch somebody lose 1 out of 10 times. Yeah. But, for example, the St. Louis Rams.
No. You mean Los Angeles Rams?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people quit watching them because they suck.
Yeah. They moved to L.A.
Yeah. So, I mean, bye, Felicia. But, I don't even know where I was going with
we were talking about, I don't know. I just started thinking about the Rams, man. We were
talking about Mitch going over to Europe with me. Oh, okay. Yes. All right, I'm back on track. So, Man vs. Food was big over here a couple years ago. Well, that time is over. Yeah. So a lot of people, especially everybody's so ignorant about nutrition and fitness and all this that they act like eating one big 7-pound meal is going to kill their whole body. Mm-hmm. everybody's into this health kick.
Right.
Man versus food and all those kind of food challenges. As people quit caring, restaurants obviously quit caring because there's no market for it. So the amount of food challenges over here is just way down. Like, I went over and did this 25 state tour, and I think I got in like 2 newspapers.
Yeah.
Well, when I go over to Europe, my last one earlier this year,
like, there's crowds.
Well, yeah. Like, I had over 100 people come to a food challenge in England.
Yeah.
The restaurants promote it so much more, and they care so much more about it. And the people over there, they're a lot more free-spirited.
Right.
Which, I mean, food challenges, you have to be a little bit more free-spirited as far as just the outlook you have on life, I guess. But so many more people are into it over there that it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
I got into, for example, earlier this year, from December 26, 2014 through February 10th, I went on this big UK and Ireland tour, and I did all those, like 44 food challenges, not even 78 like I just did.
Yeah.
I think I got in like 30 different newspapers all around the country.
Just because.
Plus Ireland a couple more as well.
Yeah. And you were in that documentary too.
Yes, Vice, Munchies did a big documentary on me. So the market is just so much better over there, and plus everybody's all about tipping here in the United States.
Yeah,
it's not as much over in the UK, so it's actually not only a better market, but it's also cheaper as far as expenses wise.
And you have a huge fan base out there too,
yes.
And so you have places to crash. And
yes, yeah. During my tours, they basically kind of depend on where I can stay with fans and people like that. Like, we've got, we're doing a Patreon page now, where people are able to basically pay like a little monthly kind of, $5, $10, whatever they want to do, that helps go towards our trips and stuff.
That's awesome.
So people that help us through that, I make sure to go visit them.
That's cool.
During the food challenges, like I've already done 75 over in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's nothing to prove to anybody,
right.
or I've already been to most of the cities in the UK that I want to go see.
Yeah.
So my next trip is going to be based on who wants to meet me, who wants to see me, stuff like that. Like, it's crazy with the trips, especially during the last one because I was by myself, but now I'll have Mitch with me. One day I'd be drinking all kinds of beers with some college students at some bars, and then the next day I'd be staying with the family and I'd be playing Xbox with their son.
That's awesome.
And then another day I'll be drinking again out with some college kids or just a family in general.
Yeah.
And then I will be like, I went out with this family and played laser tag.
That's awesome.
And a couple other things during the last trip. But yeah, it's really neat. It's awesome to meet everybody that watches the videos, and it's fun, and it's funny just to think, hey, these people are watching me.
Yeah. So you're envisioning these people while you're making these videos. Like, you're just like, hey, these people are going to see it. Like, you're getting to intimately know your fan base.
Yes. Yeah. I try to meet everybody, and especially, like, there's a lot of people in Australia and stuff that want us to come too.
That's cool.
But unfortunately, you can't just
That's a little bit more
put yourself in a kite and get there.
Yeah.
You've got to, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to get there, I don't think, till 2017.
That'll be awesome, though. Did you talk about Mexico, too, or something like that?
Yeah, I'm wanting to go to Mexico, Mexico City. With this trip that I just did, it cost me like $6,500 to do that big Eastern tour.
Yeah.
So everything gets put on the credit card.
Right.
Because that's the other thing, too, is while I don't make that much, I think I cleared like $15,000 in 2015.
Yeah.
But the good thing with that is every dollar I make is mine.
Yeah.
Because it's all a business.
Right.
So my rental car, everything gets expensed.
Right.
So a lot of people say you make $100,000 a year. Well, a fourth of that goes to the government.
Taxes, yeah.
So it's all kind of, that's just me rationalizing not making a whole lot.
Well, you're doing what you love.
But it's crazy amount of fun. Yeah. I'm very fortunate, and especially a lot of thanks, obviously, to my parents.
Right.
Not everybody's able to just move home for 2 years and and live with their family rent free. That helps a lot.
It does. That's a big help.
So, but I mean, like I think in 2014 I made like $3,000 doing food challenges.
Yeah.
And then in 15, and it just keeps on growing. Once we get up to a couple 100,000 subscribers, there'll be more money and things like that. So everything just
more
keeps
trips,
on growing.
it just keeps getting bigger. That's so cool.
And then sponsors and stuff like that.
Well, man, we are creeping up on. We're at an hour. One of the few things that I ask people with my podcast, the Unbroken Podcast, is obviously you've done the weight loss, you've done the lifting, you're doing the fitness side, and those are my 3 things that I talk about. And if someone came to you, and not just for a food challenge, but they just wanted advice on losing weight and getting stronger, and even approaching just attacking life in general, what advice would you give them?
I actually just got asked this question like 3 days ago, and it's the best answer I've ever even come across, and you've probably never heard it before. But in order to be successful at weight management, you have to understand how to do more pull-ups without ever doing a pull-up.
Okay.
Do you know what that means?
Nope.
Okay. Everybody, and it's the same with finances. Say you want to, everybody thinks you have to make more money. Well, they don't understand that you can have more money without making more by cutting all of your debt and all of your expenses and things like that. With the pull-up thing, people don't realize is, you need to get your back stronger in order to do more pull-ups, but you can also do more pull-ups if you're not so damn fat.
Yeah.
So if you diet, you never even have to worry about doing an actual pull-up. You take a while and you lose 40 pounds. You may not have been able to do a pull-up back then, but once you decrease the amount of weight you're pulling up, you're able to do more.
That's awesome.
So it's not all about the working out. People think that it's all about the working out, and before we started audio taping this or whatever, we were talking about the various weight loss shows. What was it?
Extreme Weight Loss.
That and Biggest Loser, stuff like that. You hear all these people losing all this weight on those shows, and then you also hear about them gaining 40 pounds back once they're done with it. Well, nobody's going to ever watch a show that's all about nutrition for an hour or a half hour. They got to watch the interesting stuff, which is the working out. Well, the working out is a small portion of weight loss and all that. And if you don't teach yourself the nutrition side of things, you can do all the working out in the world and you can lose all the weight you want, but eventually you're going to creep back up.
And it'll just kind of like it's again, we go back to the mindset. You gotta dominate. You gotta win before you begin.
You've got to understand the nutrition side of things, and then the other shirt that we were into, and the other phrase other than win before you begin, is I live to eat. Just a lot of people are able to understand the finance attitude with it, as far as you can't go to the movies if you didn't work. So, I mean, you don't be spending money you don't have. Well, I live to eat is, you put in this awesome workout, and, I mean, if your goal isn't to have this ripped six-pack, obviously, I mean, go enjoy that freaking burger. I mean, you didn't earn it, but you also, you allow yourself to have those calories. But then as far as the weight management goes, if you don't work out, then obviously you don't get to eat that burger. So, and if you do eat that burger, I mean, that's fine, but you need to not complain when it goes to your hips.
A minute on the lips and turn it on the hips. Well, man, this has been thoroughly enjoyable. I've like I said, I've been a fan for so long, and I had you in mind for a long time, and I guess I'm still like, hey, this is just a little podcast, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to Randy. I'm going to just ask him. And I was more than thrilled. And you're like, hey, let's set it up.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever turned down any type of interview. So, no, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I appreciate everybody that's listened today.
And so we'll get this out there, and remember, if you liked what you heard, like us and comment on iTunes and Stitcher. That'll get a little bit more people to see us out there, and our saying that we say, live unbroken. So
live unbroken. There you go. And then if you're interested in any food challenge advice or anything like that, definitely check out foodchallenges.com or there's only one Randy Santel.
Yeah.
I've always said that if there's ever a second, I'll get rid of him. But just Google me or whatever, and all of the videos will pop up and stuff like that.
With my website, when I'll link all your social media and stuff on there, and so I'll get people pointed at you.
Well, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate it, Chris.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you for listening.